I'm going to try as much as possible not to take these glasses off and end up crying through this broadcast. It's been a while since I came to you for Kemi Talks Live. I'm wearing a wrapper. My YouTube videos are not sensational. Someone said, oh, at least dress up when you do your videos. I removed them. There's no need to dress up. You have to be yourself. Tonight's episode is very sad. I didn't want to record it. I wanted to stream it to let you know that I've had a traumatic life. Someone said on Facebook tonight, how are you able to smile? You've really been through a lot. You're a strong one. I'm not strong. I'm not at all. I'm completely broken. The fact that I smile outside does not mean I'm happy. The fact that I'm on social media does not mean I'm happy. I've been off Instagram now 2.5 weeks. I've lost interest. They took down my page because a lot of you flagged my page. You didn't like my work. You didn't like my IPOB coverage, Hush Puppy coverage, name it. You flagged it, they took it down. No more Instagram. I have 2 pages on Instagram. If you like, go and flag the other one. One is my medical page in Canada. I opened it just so I can use it to comment and visit around other pages. Yes, I want to start a brand, a medical health brand, but I don't know when. I don't know when. My hand injury is killing me. I'm in pain as I'm holding this phone. I shouldn't be holding the phone. On April 28th, 1978, I was 13 years old. My brother, Akintayo Olunlayo, was 8 years old. Today I learned that my brother died. He died on Tuesday night. Today is Thursday. He died Tuesday, 28th of September, at the age of 51. I'm 57. Taya was 8 years old when I was 13. He lived a very sad life. His livelihood was taken at 8 years old. On April 1st, 1970, he was born. And I remember when my mom brought him home from the hospital, UCH Ibadan. Very beautiful child. We took pictures with the baby as it was growing up. At 5-year-old, something happened to Tyre. 5 years old. We don't know what it was, but my father is a mathematician. My father's a genius. But somehow, at 5 years old, my brother Akitayo was reciting the 9 times table, the hardest. 9 times 1, 9, 9 times 2, 18, 9 times 3, 27, 9 times 4, 36, 9 times 5. Yeah, at 5. So they thought he was a genius and he was going to take after my dad. On April 1st, 1978, Tyus celebrated his 8th birthday. 7 days after that birthday, April 15th, he was the ring bearer at my uncle's wedding. Very happy child, very jovial. And what happened next? After that 15th of April 1978 wedding, Mrs. Kuti, Fella's mom, Funlayo Kuti, she was thrown from the 3rd floor of the building where Fella lived, Kalakuta Republic. Obasanjo asked them to raid the place. So when they raided Fella's house, they grabbed his mother and threw her down. She went into a coma on the 13th of February. and she was in a coma until she died. In 1978, it was the Kutis and the Olunloyos. Big tragedies. About a week and a half after the Fela incident, on the 28th of April 1978, my father had confirmed his appointment with Obasanjo's government secretary, Executive Secretary, NSTDA, National Science and Technology Development Agency. What will be your Ministry of Technology now? His job will be what you call the Minister of Technology. My dad, yeah, Omolololaya. So, for young kids who lived in Ibadan, and I'm saying that because Lagos was the big thing then. It was the capital of Nigeria. The beach was there. So many fun things. So we're supposed to live at the house that Muritala Muhammad lived before he was killed, somewhere on the corner near Dodon Barracks in Ikoyi, number 2 Bedwell Road. The house was not ready. They were still doing stuff. So the president, it wasn't the president, Obasanjo was the head of state. The head of state and the vice president, it was the assistant head of state. The next in command to Obasanjo was Shehu Musa Yar'Adua. Okay, Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, which will serve as vice president. They decided that they will house us at a hotel. In those days, hotels were not a lot, and they were just as good, just as posh. They housed us at Federal Palace Hotel in Victoria Island. We were on the penthouse floor, on the topmost floor. Our view was the sea. It was luxury at its best. 3 bedrooms, kitchen, everything we wanted on that top floor. Today, that top floor is 700,000 a night. I was at FPH during Azuka's birthday. I actually went there because I wanted to see that room again. And the view, everything was there. 700,000 now. Who stays there? This is celebrities from abroad, big people from Abuja. But that was a childhood memory for me. I lived there for 6 months with my parents. So, what happened before we moved there? On the day we were confirmed to travel and go to Lagos and move, we're actually coming for a wedding of one of our relatives. And we used that opportunity to take all the children, everything. There was no internet, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter. You had TV and radio. For the last 3 days, there has been riots in Lagos because of the increased tuition. School fees went up in the universities. The Minister of Education, Federal Commissioner for Education, was Amadou Ali. Amadou Ali sharply increased the school fees of university students. So there was an outrage, and the students got on the streets and they started protesting. That was the order of the day in those days. The protests got violent. The students will go visibly to anywhere they wanted. In the night, they'll burn cars on Ikorodu Road, any government car in sight. The government cars were usually painted green, army green, and their number plates were either FGN, Federal Government of Nigeria, or CVU. I don't remember what CVU stands for, but the CVU cars were for the high government officials. We had one FGN and one CVU. 2-car convoy. We drove into Ikorodu Road at 7:30 p.m. at night. We drove straight into a student riot. They call it the Ali Must Go riots. When NSAS was going on, some people were saying this is going to turn to the Ali Must Go riots. People are going to die. Well, yeah. Ali Must Go riot. Amadou Ali, the minister. Ali must go. Ali must go. They busted tires of government vehicles. They destroyed anything government. So we drove right into the thing. We just heard rocks thrown at the car. The driver kept driving. The car at the back had my sisters, my mom. They divided us. Our car had me, my brother Tayo, and the driver, my dad. My dad switched positions with Tayo, and he sat in the right, and Tayo was in the middle. I was on the left. The barrage of rocks they threw on the car was so much. I watched one rock just hit the driver on the forehead and opened his head straight up. He lost control of the car and it crashed the car. He died. Now, when the car was a full stop, all the students, hoodlums, everybody rushed the car. The only thing I saw was the petrol tank. Somebody opened it and he lit a match and put it right into it. The car exploded. It was on fire. It was so hot. My dad, in the middle of the smoke, was trying to rescue his children. His entire family was inside both cars. I saw my dad running up and down. I ran out of the car and several men grabbed me. I was dehumanized. I was stripped naked on Ikorodu Road, April 28, 1978. Then they proceeded to put their hands in my vagina. I was 13, remember? They attacked me so bad, sexually molested me. Imagine you're standing there and there's 50 people's hands inside your vagina. They tore my hymen, everything. There was blood dripping out of my vagina on both my legs. I was naked. If one of them dropped me, they could have all gang raped me. But one man came and grabbed me from everybody and ran away with me. The man ran as fast as possible with me. And then we entered one house. And then there was a woman there. And the woman gave me a bath. There was blood everywhere. Gave me a bath. And then put me to bed. Very early in the morning, they now took me to the hospital. The hospital name was Luth, Lagos University Teaching Hospital. When they were carrying me away, that's the people that assaulted me. I was looking back to the car, and all I saw was my brother, Tayo, 8 years old, sitting there with his hands in his lap, and blood was shooting out of his head. A huge rock slashed his head open. Blood was just shooting out. And the car was on fire. Tayo was inside. I thought we were all going to die that night. That's the last I saw. That couple took me to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, I can vividly remember them asking what the name of this girl is. They didn't know. They did not know. They just simply said, they grabbed me out of a burning car. All the blood, everything. They asked if I was raped. They asked if I was raped. The man said no, but I was sexually molested. People dipped their hands in my vagina. It's as if 50 people fingered you at the same time. I got 27 stitches. There were worries about it when I grew up. Would I be able to have a baby through the vaginal area or C-section or what? The stitches healed, they took them out, and I've never been the same. So when I go online and I talk about I haven't had sex for 10 years, yeah, there was a time I didn't have sex for 10 years. 2007 to 2017, I was celibate. You can understand why. The trauma is still with me. One doctor in Canada discovered it. A psychologist that was seeing me. He wrote a report, and something in that report, I can't figure it out, but it seems that she's had some kind of childhood trauma. I have that report. It's in my suitcase. When we got to the hospital, the television at Luz was showing the picture of a girl, a missing girl, on TV. They said she's the daughter of the new commissioner for technology. I saw myself on the TV. And that's when I called the nurse. I said, that's me. The nurses then made connection with government officials and the governor of Lagos State that I'm in this hospital. And that the people that brought me to the hospital, the Good Samaritan couple, did not even know my name. When they dropped me up at that hospital, they never came back. We never saw them again. I don't know who they are, but they saved my life that night. I could have been raped and killed. I was already traumatized. I was innocent. It affected a lot of things. My own siblings did not know about all this stuff I'm telling you until 2018. This part of my life that happened during the Alimos Go riots with tires accident, none of my siblings knew till 2018. My parents never told them. I told them. Now, most of you know I'm estranged from my family. Most importantly, my mom and dad. People are still begging me on Facebook, oh, go and make up. Make up with who? You don't know anything about my family. Listen up. Not everybody sits and does Kemi Talks Life. Listen to my story. There's no reason I'm here. I don't have any purpose here. I'm telling you now. If I die right now, that's it. I ask God, why am I here? What is the purpose? At the end of the day, the day after the accident, there was a car turned upside down and burnt out. The driver died. Nobody knew where he was. Our driver was gone. We never saw him again, or his body, or nothing. My mother came to the scene of the accident. She was in the second car with my sisters. We don't know where they slept, but they came to the scene of the accident the next day. The pots and pans were all over the floor. And she was asking the people in the neighborhood, people selling bread, things around the street, please, do you know where the children in this car were last night? Help me. They were my children. Do you know where they are? One woman came forward and told my mother, we don't know what happened to the little girl. That's me. But the little boy was taken to Igbobi. Igbobi is a hospital in Lagos. Tayo ended up in Igbobi. The people that rushed him there took him straight into the hands of two surgeons. His brain was exposed. Blood was shooting out. That was what I saw. The surgeons were Professor Ojikutu, one of Nigeria's best neurosurgeons in the 70s and 80s, and Professor Kwaku Adadevo. Professor Adadevo was also the vice chancellor, I believe, of Unilag. He was also a surgeon. Professor Dadevo and Ojikutu, the team of doctors, saved my brother's life. They had a brain surgery for him. Both of them have died. God bless their soul. They were dynamic doctors. Professor Dadevo was the father of Ameyo Adadevo. That is how we became friends with the Adadevo family. Every one of them. Kojo was my classmate, Kojo Adadevo. You know the Adadevo were half Nigerian, half Ghana. Ameyo Adadevo, Stella, was the doctor that protected the whole of Nigeria from Ebola. She died of Ebola. The famous Ebola doctor. That was her dad, Professor Adadevo, that operated on my brother. Professor Ojikutu's children, the little girls were babies. If Taya was 8, Professor Ojikutu's daughters were probably 6 or 5 at the time. Both girls are now surgeons like their dad in America. You figure my brother was 51, and Professor Ojikutu's daughters, I caught up with one of them. They're like in their late 40s. Both of them became surgeons in America. I watch all these people grow. They're just like their father. Ojikutu had a lot of experience, my goodness. He was in every medical board out there at Adadevo. So, what is making me say these things out? Because the average Nigerian can't. The trauma is too much, the shame, the stigma. But I'm telling you everything you need to know about my life because there are people who are going to come out and start telling you about theirs too. On Twitter, we're doing spaces. Twitter went viral 2 days ago, and yesterday, and today, because everybody's enjoying me doing the spaces. It's like a radio show. You can bring somebody in on the radio show, talk to them, discuss with them. But on spaces, you can bring 10 people, 5 people, talk at the same time. We're discussing all the topics. And at the end of the day, talk therapy has helped me, even with the PTSD I had. Still have it. So, Professor Dadevo and Professor Ojikutu saved my brother's life. Taya successfully finished the brain surgery and he went into a coma. He was in a coma for almost 50 days. When he woke up from the coma, my mother was beside him. My dad had to go to work. Yeah, the work that he got, Obasanjo gave him some time off. We were living at the top of Federal Palace Hotel, and Taya was still in the hospital. President Obasanjo released a ton of money for Taya's care. When Taya woke up, 50 days later, he was singing. He was singing. What was he singing? My brother was singing the song at the wedding reception. Remember, it was the ring bearer at my uncle's wedding. He was singing the song that they were playing as the couple entered the hall. You see how the world works? You see how the brain works? That's what happened. Taya was singing the song as they danced in. He was transported abroad for treatment. They went to 17 countries. 17! We're talking about... We are talking about... I'm sorry, I'm trying to stop some things here. We're talking about a time when the dollar was lower, okay, than the naira. The naira is very powerful, 0.5. There was money in Nigeria. We just wasted a ton of money the year before. 1978 was the accident year. 1977, we just did Festac. Festac 77, Festival of Arts and Culture. We had oil like crazy. Nigeria money was flowing. Several countries came and we did it. 17 countries. Everywhere from Philippines, acupuncture, Singapore. I'm sorry, I had to remove some people. This is not a broadcast I should be doing, but I'm taking my time. I did skills. I want to block you. I'm taking my time to actually give you this broadcast because my brother just died 48 hours ago. My brother lived 43 years of pain from 8 years to 51. And you're talking about weed. Are they skills? Stop it. Okay? You joined late. You're saying sorry. You need to stop. I'm actually a zero tolerance person. I just remove you. Don't distract my whatever. I can't even go on Facebook Live or anywhere live. I'm giving it here on Twitter, on YouTube, because it's part of my life documentary. And that's why I'm doing this chapter of it. Behind these sunglasses, I have cried all day. I think I want to stop. I don't even remember where I was because of the anxiety I'm having right now. I don't even know where my train of thought was. 1:35 a.m. in the morning. I'm doing videos. My brother was taken to several countries for treatment. Almost every country he went to, there was no result. My brother was paralyzed from the waist down. He could no longer walk. They told my mom that he may never walk again. They took us and divided us everywhere. There were 8 children. Some of us went to live with our mother's friends. Some of us went to live with our aunt. All of us siblings didn't see each other again because my mother had to carry Tyre abroad. And my dad was in Lagos at work. My stepbrother, my half brother, Gbenga Olunloyo, many of you know Gbenga, is a businessman. They call him Kapoor. Gbenga was the same age as I am. We're both 13. On the day we were supposed to go to Lagos, 28th of April, We were supposed to leave Ibadan at 10:30. We were ready at 9. All the children were dressed up. We're all excited. Lagos trip, car trip. But then my dad said he had to go to work, to secretariat, to wrap up some things. That's from his old job. Dad was a secretariat all day. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My father wasn't back. At 7 o'clock, we left for Lagos. Today, 2021, nobody leaves Ibadan at 7 p.m. for Lagos in the dark. Which one is safer? To leave Ibadan to Lagos at 7 p.m. in 1978 versus 2021. It was actually worse in 1978 because they were armed robbers. Today, there are bandits and kidnappers. Then it was armed robbers. But in a government car, in those days, government cars did not have security. It was you and the driver. The driver was employed by the government and you got into the car. Today, the government car comes with a moped, a mobile policeman with a gun. In those days, none. The only people that had the mobile policeman were the leaders. The head of state, the chief of staff of Supreme Headquarters, Muritala Muhammad was the leader. Obasanjo was the chief of staff, Supreme Headquarters, the vice leader. When Muritala was assassinated, 2 years before that, 1976, it was an incredible turn of events in Nigeria. Muritala Muhammad was assassinated in 1976. First act was in 1977. Obasanjo had to become instantly the leader in 1978. Obasanjo cracked down and asked the military to go and dismantle Fela's residence. Fela sang against the government. When they got there to dismantle the place, they grabbed the mother and threw her out the window. And then another tragedy, the Olun lawyer. You employ somebody to become your commissioner and then the child is in a violent accident, which was caused by the government because Amadu Ali raised the tuition of university students. So Obasanjo's days were like, oh, it was horrible. Some of you have seen what I posted. The letter Obasanjo wrote my brother. And you saw his uniform, how he was then, head of state. You saw the letter that Babangida wrote my brother, 1997. They were always giving him money. Their governments paid for successive surgeries and this and that. Nothing happened. Every doctor, from Filipino doctors to British, Harley Street, London. Harley Street, one of the biggest places that rich Nigerians go for medical treatment. Dubai did not exist at that time. So we didn't have Dubai healthcare. In 1978, everywhere, no progress. Of course, we didn't go to America. America, nobody went there then. But the big doctors in Harley Street said he's paralyzed for life. We can do physical therapy. So he was going to physiotherapy at Federal Palace Hotel. Mrs. Raimi, Nigeria's prominent physiotherapist, was the one that saw him. Tayo at 8 years old was learning how to walk again, but the neurons that control walking were destroyed in his brain. Tayo could talk. He could eat by himself. He could do certain motor functions. But by the time Tayo was 25, 30 years old, he had lost the use of his left hand. His left hand had no feeling anymore. He couldn't move it. He couldn't pick up things, nothing. At 10 years old, he stopped school. There were teachers that would come in the house to teach him. It was never the same as going to school when you were 8 years old, reciting the 5 times table, the 9 times table. He'd lost a lot of cognitive function. We grew up on the side. You know, we grew up retired to see all this. Just watching him was too traumatic. Watching him was traumatic for even us as children. By the time I was 15, when I tell you I grew up in Ikoyi, this is where I grew up in Ikoyi in the 70s. The house was ready, so we left Federal Palace Hotel and we ended up at number 2 Bedwell Road. Very historical house. It's burned down now, but it's still sitting in the structure. I went there. That was the house Muritala Mohammed lived. That was the house he drove out of when they shot him down the street by where Federal Secretariat is, by Colonel Dimka. So we were living in Bedwell Road, and we attended school at Federal School of Arts and Science, FSS, Victoria Island. There was no Lekki. That area was called Maracor. People lived on water. All the children going to FSS, we walked to school. There was no school bus. The people of Bedwell, the Kanyis, the Olulayas, we walked all the way to Awolowo Road. The Bodilon children, all the children in Bodilon, all the children in... Everybody meets at that Awolowo Road. Then we start to walk on Falomo Bridge. We walk across Falomo Bridge, and then we see 1004, which is still there, and the school was across the street. After school at 4 o'clock, we went to Falomo to the ice cream pavilion. There was a place there called Falomo Shopping Center. There were shops, and there was an ice cream pavilion, something like Cold Stone. Everybody met there. Name it, we all went to that place. Agu Iruku, Lenny Anya. Some of you know Agu Iruku. He's the pastor at Redeem in London. Lenny Anya, Dakpo, what's Dakpo's last name? Wale Oladapo. There was Toyi Machado. There was like all the famous Holy Child girls and CMS boys. Everybody went to FSS to do remedial courses. From there, we headed to London. We left Nigeria. Taya will come to London with my mom. Wheelchair, carry to the toilet, carry this. It was a lot. Give him a bath, put him in the tub, all that. After a while, my mom couldn't carry him anymore. Then it became Audu. Audu, the gate man, became somebody who worked inside the house now. Giving Taya a bath, this one, that one. Feeding him. There was even a time Taya wanted to go to London abroad with all of us. And it was almost impossible because everybody went abroad. So one of my brothers asked him to come and live with him. I don't know what happened, but they were at work. Taya was in a wheelchair. He was hungry. And when he was hungry, he went to the kitchen. He was trying to fry an egg, and the oil poured on him. On the wheelchair. Remember, he can't get up, and nobody was home. They were at work. It was a disaster. It's just some of the little things. Tayo had to be returned back to Nigeria. He could not be left unsupervised. There was a fight between my mom and my dad about his education. Why did they stop? Why did he stop school? Couldn't go to school in a wheelchair. Nigeria is not advanced, not wheelchair accessible, not wheelchair friendly, you know? There were times when my sister in America said they should bring him to America. Just nothing worked. On my 53rd birthday in 2017, I celebrated it with disabled people. You saw the TVC headline. I invited the media. Why I celebrated my birthday with disabled people? Because they're people. And you need to know their plight. And I had one. Please stop asking me stupid questions. Who is this person? After this video will be done, will you post it as a normal video? You know what? I'm going to actually remove you. Instead of listening, they'll be asking stupid questions. What am I doing a live video for? To delete it after? This is not Instagram where you can save the video. This is YouTube. Forced conversation, annoying people. I've removed that person. Can't watch anything on my channel anymore. I'm going into seclusion for 40 days. And I wrote that on Twitter. After tonight, you wouldn't see me anymore anywhere. I've already called one of my neighbors who's going to be going to the store if I need anything. I'm going to be mourning in private. 40 days. My family is half Muslim, half Christian. My grandmother was a Muslim. If somebody dies, they don't go out for 40 days. I grew up with my grandmother at one point. So growing up in Ikoyi was very funny, it was interesting. My dinner is here. I just been sitting on this tray since 7 o'clock. And I'm sure it's 2 a.m. Tyra came back to Nigeria. I remember when Babangida came to visit Tyra when he was sick in the hospital. After a while, Obasanjo was no longer head of state. We now had IBB. IBB came somewhere after Obasanjo, before Obasanjo came back as the president, but I remember IBB came on a bike, Okada. The military president at who's this person that said, can I improve my voice? It's not clear. I'm mourning my brother. You're telling me to improve my voice. Let me remove you. Thank you. My voice is too close to the mic. Why don't you just listen and stop telling me how to do my voice? I'm removing all of you. If you can't hear my voice, let me end the whole broadcast. I'm trying to sensitize people on what my family went through. I don't know whose family has gone through this. Everybody has a story. People are busy calling me mad woman, crazy woman because I talk about my family. But their own family, they're hurting. I've lived with trauma all my life. I don't have to share it. I did skills. Stop calling me mommy. I'm not mommy. I'm Dr. Kemi. I don't like you. Let me remove you. Gone. I'm hungry. I have not eaten today. I'm going to eat while I'm doing the rest of this video. Mm. 40 days, I have to mourn my brother. I'm not going to be online. I'm not going to be going out. Nothing. What I want to say is that there was a time Taya was sick and General Babangida came to see him in the hospital. He took a bike. He took a bike from Jordan Barracks to the hospital. Nobody even knew was the leader. They would shower him with money, cash, everything. A lot of money they gave him. Towards the end of his life, he was fighting with my sister, Funke Olunloyo, because Funke kept his money. and Funke would not release that money. I literally had to tell her to give me 100,000 naira so that I can go to ShopRite with Tayo and Tayo can pick whatever he wants to eat. Tayo wanted abroad food. He wanted grapes. He wanted apples. He wanted fancy foods, and he deserved it. During the Obasanjo and the Babangida era, they gave him a lot of money, and Funke kept that money, and he was fighting her all the way to 2019 when I left Ibadan. She was holding on to almost all of Tayo's money. They abused Tayo. They used Tayo. They spent his money. As of when I left Ibadan, that boy had 28,000 pounds. Can somebody calculate that for me? 28,000 pounds. Money gifted to him by IBB and Obasanjo across the years. You saw the notes. Nobody else has them. I'm the only one that has them. And nobody knew I would become a journalist. Did you see the notes? I posted them. Obasanjo's note in 1980 and Babangida's note in 1997. My sister traveled, how much? 15 million naira? Okay, 28,000 pounds. In today's money, right? Okay. 15 million naira. Okay, good. In today's money. Funke would travel to London, travel to America. Now they say she built a house. All along we were living inside my dad's house in Ikolaba. She was building a new house. No one told me, not even my mom or my dad. And you're telling me to be friends with my parents? It was when I left for Lagos after the armed robbery. My dad said, oh, she built a house. Was she spending Tayo's money for all this traveling and everything? Possibly. Well, you see another story about Funke Olunloyo when she attacked me with her house girl. Wicked people. I would never have anything to do with my family. Just like I told BBC, if my father died tomorrow, they said someone called my dad 2 days ago from America. His daughter from America called him at 6 p.m. during dinner. They were eating dinner and they were talking. He lives with his junior wife, Ronke. Everybody at the dinner table were eating when the phone call came from my sister in America. My sister probably got the news from my mother. Of course, they wouldn't call me. But when my sister was not telling my dad that Tayo has died, he's passed away, they said my dad dropped the fork and he was looking at everybody on the table. Couldn't talk. He now got up, he couldn't eat anymore, and went into the room. Well, I'm surprised he didn't die. That was his beloved child, the favorite, the mathematician, the genius, who was maimed and was robbed 43 years. If you go to my community section of this YouTube channel, you should be reading all the things I posted about Tayo across the years. All those things I posted were from different years. So, let me sit up before I choke to death because I'm eating yam and stew. No yam and pepper stew when you fry the pepper. This kind of stuff is good in the morning. Early, Nigerian breakfast, but I made it for dinner at 7 and it's been sitting here cold. And I don't want to go to the microwave. Look in the community area, guys. My stories of Tayo will liberate many people. Why? They have their stories too. The reason I removed those 3 people is because in Nigeria, someone is giving you premium content. They're not charging you for it, and you're telling them to put their microphone in such a way to speak louder. That's bullshit. Go to Twitter. They're paying me to come and listen to my talks. I go to Crazy Clown's wedding. All the celebrities are dancing inside. All the comedians. And I'm pressing Facebook Live. Some people on Facebook Live saying, thank you, Dr. Kemi, for giving us this exclusive footage. Others are telling me, cameraman, hold the camera straight. I just end it. I don't have time for bullshit. I went to Abuja to see Ned Nwoko because I was investigating a murder in his village. I had to interview the father of the murdered boy and the governor of the state, who is now a senator. I'm trying to meet with Ned. Ned has this thing he does on Sundays with his family. Family spot. They meet at the clubhouse with the pool, the tennis court, everything. And I go live on Facebook. And Ned is telling me to come inside the tennis. Show him teaching Regina how to play tennis. And people are still yapping me. Instead of to be happy, I'm giving you a sneak peek in the life of a billionaire, all his 17 children, wives, baby mama, and Regina. My video was posted on Goldmine on Instablog, and you're abusing me. When I start monetizing everything, it wouldn't be funny. Taya lived a very sad life. Towards the end of his life, I fought my mom and my sister. They stole from him. They mistreated him. They fought him. He will get aggressive at them. He will have seizures. They will not give him his medicine. When I discovered they were not giving him his medicines all the time, as a pharmacist, I stepped in and I took over the medicines for a while. Funke did not like how I took over the medicines because she used to give him some rubbish. You will see liquids in bottles, dark liquids inside bottle. They call it horrible this, horrible that. You're mixing all this bullshit with pharmaceutical drugs for seizures in the brain. She will fight me. Then she'll try to say I'm the one trying to poison Taya with all the drugs. Taya was on Tegretol, carbamazepine for brain activity. What was the liquid you were giving him to drink? This boy was old. He had sores all over his body. Bad sores, because he's in the bed all the time. His bum, there were sores. You have to treat them. You have to put antibiotic powder on them. Some of them orally. I took over a lot of stuff when I was in Ibadan. But she didn't like it. She was busy spending all his money. Pounds and dollars. A lot of the money Tayo got from IBB were in pounds. And a lot of money he got from Obasanjo were in dollars and pounds. But most of it was pounds. His skin broke down. He lost the use of his left hands. Sometimes he wanted to shit. They won't pick him up on time. They'll let him shit on himself. Okay, Miss the Agba man, we understand you, but don't go there, okay? Everything you're writing, we did. All right? Everything you're writing, we did. My brother's dead now. You said sorry. Okay, please, don't go there. He's dead. He died 2 days ago. No one called me that my brother died. I found out my brother was dead on the internet. I'm a very big public figure. I met a new friend last weekend at the wedding of Chris Clown. I have a new friend, okay? And I'm going to be working with him. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing. You'll just see it. The young man called me Dr. Kemi, Madam Kemi, you are a powerhouse in media. That's what he said. You are a powerhouse in media. You see that young man I met? Okay. His name is Ubi. UBI. Ubi Franklin. He's working with Davido's ex, Chioma, and getting her endorsement deals and stuff. Payport, name it. Ubi and I did a video together. I haven't posted it. He was like, oh, we outside, we outside. He's a really cool guy. He may have failed in other areas, the baby mamas and all that, but he's very good with the business part of things. So you'll see that. One thing about me, why I mentioned Ubi is I know I'm a very big public figure. That young man called me a powerhouse. Last night, Fanny Kaede called me and said, your profile has increased 10 times. My profile has increased 10 times. I said, I don't know that. I said, no, you wouldn't know. I need to be visiting presidents in Africa. I'm one of the most influential women in Africa. And I'm saying all this because I want to give you the feeling I feel right now. Every morning, celebrities won't tell you this. Every morning when a celebrity wakes up in Nigeria, even abroad, anywhere in the world, do you know the first thing we do? Before we hit the bathroom to go pee, the first thing famous people do when they wake up, they grab their phone and they Google themselves. They Google themselves to see what have been written about them. And when I Google Kemi Olunloyo, yeah, one blog has written something. Google on Twitter, Google or search Twitter, search everything, they've written something about me. Today, I did not Google Kemi Olunloyo. Because of the Twitter space I did yesterday that went viral, there was 800 people on the space. On a regular space of a famous person, 100, 200, 800 people were on my space. 15 verified accounts, and they all were journalists. I didn't know some Nigerian journalists were verified. Many of them. Many verified Nigerian journalists. They were Nigerian names. They were verified and journalists and other things. Many of them abroad. BBC, all that. 15 verified journalists on my space. Instablog Nigeria was on there. You just see their logo. You see their DP. People were on my space. Influencers. Aye Mojuba. Kelvin O'Dance. All these guys were on my space. The topic, some people are like, oh my God, Dr. Kemi is pure cruise. The topic, Nigerians abroad have no say in anything going on at home till you move home. You can't be in America, Canada, abroad and be talking about Nigeria, this, Buhari, that. You need to get your ass home or else you have no say. If you think you're keeping the economy together by sending 28 billion home a year, you're sending it to us, you're sending it to your families. At the end of the day, guys, you wouldn't be sending that money if the naira and the dollar were equal. You wouldn't even be there. That was the discussion yesterday. If the naira was 1-to-1, nobody will be abroad. I've lived abroad 38 years. I know these things. So it went very viral. Today when I woke up, I did Lekki toll gates. And I found out the person that was doing the independent forensic thing doesn't even have a company, dissolved. How can you say there were no live bullets used at the toll gate except if other people fired it when the military left? So you're trying to say the military didn't fire it. Other people may have fired live bullets at the toll gate. So I went and started investigating this guy, finding out his company doesn't even exist. Okay, so let's say he's a consultant, basically, to the Nigerian government. His findings are wrong. And then CNN didn't show up either. So it makes it worse, like nobody even died. So I was asking people, what do you want? I was asking people, what do you want on the 20th of October? Do you want a service, a memorial, when they said nobody died? What are you going to do? The show was very viral. But before the show, I just Googled myself, but I didn't put Kemi Olunloyo. I put Olunloyo in Twitter search. And what came out today is not yesterday. What came out of Thursday, my heart sunk. When I Googled Olunloyo, the first thing that came out was my brother, ex-governor Olunloyo, loses 51-year-old son. Tayo was gone. Tayo died. My brother died. My brother died. And then it was a Twitter search. Then I took it to Google search. Then I saw it in the Nigerian Tribune, our newspaper in Ibadan. I saw it on Parrots. I saw it on many publications and blogs. But I didn't see it in Guardian, Punch, and all the others. Maybe they didn't know yet, but I told Punch today. I told the Rise News today. I'm going to call TVC tomorrow. And I also want to call Femi Adesina. I want to call Femi Adesina and Gabashewu tomorrow to tell the president. Because President Buhari has seen a lot of deaths. When mothers of politicians die, President Buhari condoles with them. When husbands die, he condoles with them. Wives, he condoles with them. Akuli's husband was murdered the other day. He sent condolences out. And I think my brother, being a product of Nigeria's demise, President Buhari, I want to tell Femi tomorrow to tell the president to send a message to my dad and my mom on my brother's death. President Buhari knows the story of my brother. And I want to tell you that the only president that antagonized us, because the Nigerian government has been paying for Tayo's treatment from day one. When Obasanjo came out as president, he continued, because we stopped sometimes after Babangida and Abacha. During the Abacha days, it was not as whatever. My dad took a job with Abacha so that he can pay for the medical bills of my brother. These are the few things you will not hear. My dad took a job with Abacha so that he can pay my brother's bills and medical treatment. And Obasanjo was angry because Abacha locked Obasanjo up. And when Obasanjo was eventually released and he became president, he never gave my dad an appointment again. Like when he was in military, he was upset that my dad worked for Abacha. But my dad worked for Abacha because they had to take care of Tayo. My father has worked 51 appointments in 61 years. Public official. The shortest of those 51 appointments was the most popular, governor of Oyo State, 3 months. Today, Nigeria turns 61. And my dad has worked 51 appointments in 61 years. Type in Olunloyo, I saw a lot about my brother's death on Tuesday. Some of the stories were not accurate in the blogs. I don't know why blogs will carry stories and change it. Some said he was the only son. He wasn't the only son. My father has 5 sons. Shola, nobody knows Shola. He left Nigeria 35 years ago. He's a chef. If you type chef, Shola Olunloyo, Shola, you'll see it. A very famous chef. Benga Olunloyo, my brother. Oyeleke Olunloyo, my late brother, meaning that my parents have buried 2 sons. Benga, this guy that just typed this. Benga Ani, are you Igbo? Igbo people don't spell my name right. Focus, it's the whole tribe over there. It's Olunloyo, not Oluloyo. There's an N. You're defacing my name. Olunloyo, not Oluloyo. That's Igbo spelling. Like Oshimbajo. They somehow call that guy Oshimbanjo. It's not Banjo. There's no N there. Banjo. So Shola Gbenga Oyeleke passed away. He was hit by the car. Olumide is the son from his younger wife. So my dad has 5 sons. It was not the only son. Some of the papers were saying that. Nigerian Tribune said he died at home in the Ikolaba home. Another paper said he died in a private hospital. You're still spelling my name wrong. It's Olunloyo. Olun. Igbo people, they will never see the N, but where the N is not there, they'll see it there. Olunloyo, not Oluloyo, please. It's a very honorable name from the royal family of Oyo Empire, Alafi. But we're from Ibadan because we're in 2 royalties. I don't want to talk about history now. Focus. Pay attention to detail. That's very lacking in Nigerians. I have to sit down in Port Harcourt telling Port Harcourt people, Oshin Bajo. Cut it into 2. Oshin Bajo. It's not Oshin Banjo. Oshin Banjo. It's not Banjo. It's Bajo. Dennis, thank you for spelling that correctly. Fate, F-A-T-E. The big question. Why were you you said I should create something in my brother's honor and that you guys in the diaspora want to contribute? I don't know. I'm a little hesitant on that. I don't know anything about funeral arrangements. My evil sister, Funke, is probably the one that's going to plan that. But they say that when we're older than the deceased, we can't go to the funeral. That's Nigerian tradition. When Tayo turned 50, his 50th birthday, I did a fundraiser for him. People abused me, called me a beggar, all this nonsense. So I stopped right there. Nigerians contributed. And I got him really great birthday gifts. Because my sister was holding his 15 million, 28,000 pounds. She wouldn't even release anything. I don't want to do anything. What would I use? If you contribute money now, I open a GoFundMe. We're not going to use it for the funeral. My parents are probably going to, they're probably going to bury him. If my sister doesn't use some of the money she stole from him to bury him. I might name something after him. I don't know. I'll think about it. Down the line, I want to open a foundation. I might name something. Okay, guys. Okay, apologies accepted. Benga. I don't know. I am supposed to go into oblivion now. 40 days of oblivion. I was talking about fate. Fate. One of my neighbors asked me a question today, and that question has been asked for years by many people, and it's called fate. Fate. Oh God, why did you guys leave so late at night? Why did you leave Lake Ibadan at 7 and drive into Lagos at 9 o'clock in the dark and they just rushed your car? Because my dad was at the office wrapping up things so that we can go to Lagos. Well, guess what, guys? My dad was not at the office. You know my half brother, Benga, his mother's name, Mrs. Akere. Mrs. Akere, Alaja Akere, she's dead now. She was the woman that had the affair with my dad when my mom was pregnant with me. I was born in August of 1964. Benga was born in May of 1964. That woman was with my dad on the morning of April 28th. My dad was at Benga's mother's house. He was not at his office in Secretariat. My mother told all of us. Eventually came out and they used it to abuse each other. When they fight, all kinds of stuff comes out. He was having sex with her in the house and was with her throughout that day. And then he came home at 6 and said, okay, everybody, let's go to Lagos at 7. And that's what happened. My dad was having sex with his concubine. So that's what we were told while they fought and abused each other. And we ran into this tragedy. The sexual molestation thing, when they attacked me, I don't play around with sexual things. Okay, I'm very, very inhibited. All right, I don't sleep around. I don't like men. I don't like the male. I don't like men. Okay, I sometimes wish that only women existed. It is very traumatic. It is psychological. And you're hearing this from me for the first time. This is why I was the closest to Tayo. We were the ones in that car together. And they don't have the audacity to call me and tell me. I found out online. I didn't know Tayo would die first because I said on the BBC interview that if my family, my mom and dad passed, I will not be at their funeral. And that still stays the same. Oh, why did you make up with that? You don't know what's happened within people's families. Don't tell them to make up with them. Joyce Meyer, a pastor, said, do not accept apologies from the same people 1,000 times. Leave them and love them from afar. Oh, they're sorry, they're sorry, they're sorry. The same people, the same shit. Leave them. Anyway, I told my children today in America Uncle Tyre has died. I was shocked. One of my sons was very sad. I messaged him. You know what he said? Mom, I can't talk right now. I'm at work and I'm also grieving. My autistic son. I'm at work and I'm also grieving. Tayo had 28 wheelchairs. You know the wheelchair of the 8-year-old boy, the little wheelchair? By 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, another wheelchair. By 18 years old, another wheelchair. By 25 years old, another wheelchair. Wheelchair after wheelchair after wheelchair. He got bigger, taller. We left all the wheelchairs in Molite when we left the house. The house is retired now, condemned. And in the back, you can see, I went there. I visited the place. The mango trees are still there with tons of mango dropping up during the season. And I saw the graveyard of wheelchairs, all tires wheelchairs. They're now useless. Because on Tuesday night, my brother, I have to make a cartoon of this. There's sometimes when I can sketch things. But my brother stood up from that last wheelchair and walked into heaven. Dear God, receive Tyre in your arms and hug him. We can never understand why you did what you did. What did he come for? Why was he here? For what purpose? I don't see Tyre as a 51-year-old. I see Tyre as an 8-year-old. Why did he come here for 8 years? After 8 years, he could no longer walk again. All I see is my brother in white standing up in front of the wheelchair, and God is waiting for him. Goodbye, Tyre. Till we meet again. Thank you, guys. I'll be back November 7th. I'll be mourning in private 40 days.